Everybody
It's
here?
like crazy pants.
Everyone we have, Dom's absent by
Yeah.
prearrangement.
We, Mr. Weaver?
Mr. Weaver,
Are
yes.
live.
How's it going?
Call to order.
Okay.
Roll call.
Commissioner Farmer,
Present?
Commissioner Prestino,
Present.
Commissioner Peller,
Present?
Commissioner Madigan,
Present.
Chair Van,
Present.
and Commissioner Weaver's absent by prearrangement.
And we still have a quorum, because we got Kyle.
Hey.
Yes, because we have Commissioner Farmer. Yes.
Cool, okay. Public expression. Nobody from the public here or online or anything?
We have nobody on Zoom at the moment.
Throw it on the
Okay.
paper, slides better.
Nobody wants to deal with us.
No attendees, just us.
That's fine. In and out quickly.
Yes, yes.
Number 3, approval of our minutes. I read over them and everything looked good to me.
Is there anything here for me? Do we have
There's
Make a
things?
motion that we approve the minutes as presented.
Thank you.
I'll
I
second.
wasn't here, so.
Christina and Farmer.
And Farmer. Mhm.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Any abstain? You don't have to, you can vote yes or no.
Oh, okay, yes.
Okay.
Yes. I didn't know if I was allowed as I was
You
not.
can, you just
Okay.
can't make edits because you weren't present.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All righty, motion carries.
Okay, commissioner reports. Commissioner Farmer,
Nothing to report.
Commissioner Prestino.
I have some good news.
All right.
We have, at the hatchery, the Bill Townsend Educational Hatchery, we got a donation of a pool filter. Very large sand filter. I have one on my pool. They're very efficient. They work well. We're going to try using it at the hatchery to clear up some of the turbidity in the water. Hopefully it'll work. Moya's Pool Supply is retiring,
Yeah.
and he donated this filter, which is well over $1,000.
Oh, wow.
And 900 pounds of sand to go into the
Nice.
filter. And one of our members is a plumber. So me, Tommy, him, and the plumber, and we got it installed. There's no water at the facility, so we can't test it to see if it works, but it's installed. So hopefully by the end of November, beginning of December, we'll get it up and running.
Excellent.
But yeah, this is something that has been a problem for the last couple of years because Lake Mendocino is basically sucking water out of the bottom to send down to the hatchery. So the water that's coming down to us is really, really muddy.
Interesting.
And we've been using some other filters that are just not cutting the mustard. We're hoping this will do the trick. We'll find out once we get it up and running, but save us a lot of money.
So can you back flush this, Joe? to clear
Yes, it has a backwash.
That's good.
The only problem is, when you backwash it, you're backwashing it with the dirty water.
Mhm.
So as you're backwashing, the dirty water is coming into the hatchery where the eggs are.
Ah,
That's one
How many
problem.
gallons do you need for the backwash?
I don't know how many gallons. It basically, you backwash it until the water comes out clear. So I know with my pool, maybe a minute, maybe 2 minutes until the
Okay.
water's coming out.
I was wondering, because, water truck could be a possible solution, and, I think that for what you get, it's pretty cheap. And so maybe doing some kind of a fundraising.
Cheap is okay, but when you don't have money, cheap is not
Well,
cheap
exactly.
enough.
Yeah, I hear you.
That's our problem right now.
Well, maybe somebody would donate.
I was thinking,
Bake sale.
possibly when we do the backwash,
Mhm.
that we could take water from the city, because we have
Yeah.
a city water source there. But the city of Ukiah uses so much chlorine in
Yeah,
their
yeah.
water, probably kill the eggs.
Yeah.
If not kill them, it would damage them.
No, and I'm not sure, have to look into if a truck water, usually they get it from like a freshwater source, like either a well or from a lake or a pond or something like that. But
Right.
Is this,
I
is
don't
this
know.
being considered in City of Ukiah's lawsuit against Army Corps and all that?
No,
No, they're not.
I don't know
The
anything
fish
about it.
station isn't, or the hatchery isn't part of that turbidity.
oh, I'm
Right.
sure it is, but I'm not familiar with a lawsuit.
What's going on there?
The city of
Kyle?
Ukiah is suing Army Corps?
I'd have to look it up, but there's City of Ukiah was in some level of legal complaint against that turbidity impacts to the Russian River.
It's not gonna get any better.
Until they
because-
raise the lake and
Yeah.
redo the outlet.
Or
Yeah.
just raise the water source instead of taking it from the bottom.
Yeah, and then the water gets warmer as you go
It
up.
does.
Yeah.
It does, but I don't think that's a problem. You see, when we have the hatchery open, the hatchery is open to the public from January 2nd until the end of April.
Mhm.
That one's
So,
cold.
yeah, the temperature's not an issue at that point.
Uh-huh.
And that's the steelhead season,
Mhm.
December on. So, I don't
They
know.
could pull from higher.
Yeah, but that's not something I can do or anybody can do other than the Army Corps of Engineers.
Mhm.
And they must have their reason for taking it from the bottom. I don't know what it is. I know they have that structure in the lake. That's where the water is coming from the bottom of that structure.
Mhm.
So the sediment that's on the bottom of the lake just keeps raising because year after year, the water coming in from the north is pushing all this sediment in, and the layer just keeps getting bigger and bigger.
And the water quality in,
Is going
bad.
downhill
It's
fast,
bad.
yeah.
So probably when it was built, that outflow was probably much higher than the sediment
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
level,
sure
so
it was.
just hasn't been
I'm
dredged
sure it
in
was,
a
but
zillion
that was
years.
70 some odd years ago that was built,
Yeah.
60 or 70
Yeah, I
years
don't know
ago.
the exact date when it was
That,
built.
that's a lot of silt on the
Yeah.
bottom of that
Mhm.
lake,
Yeah.
so. We'll see if this works, if not, we'll try something else,
Yeah.
see what happens, so. I don't have anything else to report.
Okay,
That was a good report. Huh?
yeah, thanks, Joe.
Yeah.
Why are you responsible for that as opposed to?
The hatchery itself is run by the Ukiah Valley Fish and Wildlife Club.
Mhm.
It is within the grounds of the Army Corps of Engineers. They own the property, but we run it and maintain it. The California Department of Fish and Wildlife works with us, but the egg hatchery belongs to the club. And we
Mhm.
run it and we raise the eggs. And CDFW will take the small fry from us after we're finished, after they've grown to where they're gonna go, and they go back to Warm Springs.
Mhm.
And those fish in return come back to us the next winter to be imprinted. So we'll have roughly 250,000 small fry or yearlings to be imprinted.
Mhm.
and then you release, or they do?
I'm sorry?
Who releases them ultimately after they're
We
imprinted?
release them, well, when I say we, California Department of Fish and Wildlife and the club, we
Yeah.
release them after they're there for 4 weeks or 30 days,
Mhm.
Depending upon the phase of the moon. The gates are open and we don't force them out.
Yeah,
We let them go out as they will. Some of them just don't leave because they're being fed. So we have to literally force them out.
yeah.
But that happens after 30 days, roughly.
And is that part of the biological opinion on the Russian, or is that a voluntary action?
The releasing of the fish,
Just the whole program, is it like a mitigation for the Army Corps, or is it just a voluntary action on behalf of the club?
I don't know. The club is strictly voluntary,
I'm sure it's a volunteer thing.
but the Army Corps of Engineers, the California Department of Fish and Wildlife has their employees there. There's an employee at the hatchery from January 1st to April 30th,
Mhm.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week, somebody is there.
Mm.
So it's their employees. We have volunteers that are there every day,
Wow.
myself included.
Mhm.
Probably when that was built, there probably some sort of federal mandate that was put in place, to monitor the fisheries and stuff like that was cut off.
I don't know. I think the Army Corps leaves it up to CDFW, but, I don't know. I know we have an agreement with them, which had to be renewed. And frankly, I heard discussion of it, and I didn't see the agreement. I'd love to see the agreement. So Tommy is signing off on it, so as soon as I can get a copy of it. I know it's an agreement between the club and the Army Corps as to what needs to be done and what has to be handled.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Fascinating.
My
Yeah.
pleasure.
Commissioner Peller?
Nothing.
Nothing. Commissioner Weaver's, Patty, Commissioner
He,
Madigan?
Commissioner Weaver emailed me an update he
Oh.
wanted to have read for you,
Oh, sure.
related to the Fish and Game Commission's letter that you signed,
Oh,
Chairman,
yeah.
on behalf. So it says, our June letter to the California Fish and Game Commission regarding the proposed 10-year red abalone fishery closure was received and is attached to their next meeting agenda today or tomorrow. We will know more about the next steps pending the outcome of their discussion and possible action after their meeting. At their meeting, they also are considering a positive emergency regulation change that would restore all depth fishing for rockfish and lingcod. This would result in new data submitted to CDFW and NOAA fisheries by some of our local charter captains who take biologists from Cal Poly Humboldt on research trips to conduct catch and release hook and line surveys that showed that quillback rockfish population was in better shape than other data had suggested. If approved, this regulation could be implemented as early as September. The albacore tuna have arrived, with great fishing currently 40 to 50 miles out of Fort Bragg. Finally, we're hosting the 3rd annual Noyo Harbor Festival, September 20 and 21st. There are many fun events on both days with a local sustainably caught seafood and maritime heritage dinner. For more information, there's a website, and I'll send this out to you guys if you need it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to see
Yeah.
that.
Thanks in advance.
Yeah, that's great.
That would be
Good job. Commissioner Weaver.
Mhm.
We're so lucky.
Yes, we
Yeah.
are.
Great spot.
Yes.
Patty, you have anything to share?
Well, I think I'm going to present on an action item coming up, but just to let you guys know that I kind of hemmed and hawed around for a while trying to figure out, wrap my brain around that Fort Bragg meeting and actually what I could contribute. So I figured when everything else is, go to the science, see what the science says. And so I don't know that I made an exhausted effort, but I look forward to reporting it.
Oh, cool.
In a minute.
Okay.
Your
I guess,
report.
on June 26th, I went up with Frank Abley from the Mendocino National Forest and took a look at the Hammerhorn Lake area up there that we
Yeah.
put a lot of
How's it
money
like?
into.
Yeah.
It's pretty rough looking, but they've taken on a program with the California Deer Association, and they're going to start camp renovations
Right.
and
They
a
still were
bunch of
doing bathrooms and stuff too, weren't they handicapped and
They
like a
we
lot?
paid for all that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, but they got some sort of a grant, I guess, through the BEAR program, which they got after the fire went through
Okay.
for forest rehabilitation and stuff. So
Sure.
that's moving forward. However, when they did some redrawing of the national forest up there, being in the wilderness area, they took in the draft site or the diversion site for Hammerhorn Creek that fills the lake. So it's now in the wilderness and is inaccessible
Oh,
for a
no.
diversion. So
Okay,
that was a
well,
major blow.
I mean,
So
unless
now
you're-
they're looking
yeah.
at a pumping station, solar-powered pumping station to pump, because it kind of zigzags down through, and down below the lake on Hammerhorn Creek, there's some pools down there that they can feel that they can pump it back up the hills. So they may be applying for a grant to us to help support that. And I said, well, all you can do is apply and
Right.
see what happens. So
So when they redrew the map and they put that outlet into the wild, into
Mhm.
the wilderness, and that was done by like a biologist or something like that?
I don't know the
just to
details on that, who
keep
did
the
it
water?
or
Okay,
what, but or
okay.
it was something to realign for the Yuki Wilderness and stuff
Yeah,
that they've done
yeah,
up there, and then
yeah.
protecting that.
I mean, as a hyper environmentalist, I'm like, cool, but I mean, at the other, but
Yeah.
I mean, all of the above. And
It's
so
just
how do
another,
you-
I was
yeah.
disappointed because it's
Yeah.
another working mechanism now that has to be
Yes.
maintained and
yeah,
redesigned and a
uh-huh.
bunch of stuff, but it's doable. This guy from, I think there was a gentleman from Caltrout there, and as well as two folks from CDA, and they said they've seen these things work, because before that was a 4-inch main line that pumped water into
Yeah.
that. But they're saying, with all the leaks and stuff in the old system, a new 2 or 3 inch pipe with this solar pump that pumps the water in would be probably more water delivered to the lake than the old
Solar
system.
pump,
So-
cool, that sounds
And I said,
good,
well, what are
okay,
we looking
yeah.
at, 30,000-40,000 for this project? And they said, no, maybe between 10,000 and 15,000.
Wouldn't it be cool to hang out at Hammerhorn for one of our meetings? Because every time we talk about it so much.
Quite a
Can we
ways
make
up
it an
there.
overnight?
Yeah, that's maybe a 3-dayer.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
long ways up there.
Yeah, I've never been.
Yeah,
It'd
but
be
the
so
road,
cool to see,
I was
yeah.
talking to one of the local tribal members in Covelo on the roads department side, and they've got a rock pit out, north of the valley. I think they call it the Coyote Rock Quarry or something like that, but it sounded like they got some sort of a federal agreement or a grant to rock the road from Eel River Ranger Station all the way up to Hammerhorn. So that'll be a
Oh,
couple
good.
of year project for the crews there in
Okay, we'll
Colo,
go
it
out for
sounds
that.
like. So.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
the roads, actually, I rode up with Frank in his
Yeah.
pickup, and I was pretty impressed about, with how the good
Nice.
shape the road was, but,
So
But-
Hammerhorn's before Indian Dick, right?
yeah,
And then Almagillion Creek's above that.
it is,
Yeah.
yeah.
Haven't been there in a while.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
So anyway, I mean, that's something positive for the forest,
Yes.
Howard
Yeah.
Lake, I don't know that they have any plans for that, repair wise, but Hammerhorn, there was the trees and stuff, made the campground there, those old growth fir, and they're all gone,
They burned up?
it all burned. Yeah, all the work, remember Patty, all the work we did up there and the
Yeah.
Yeah. That was
tons
so
of,
sad.
donations from Redwood Empire Sawmills and Willis
Mhm.
Redwood Company and M&M Feed and Wiley Resources, they just gave us
How long ago did that burn?
2020,
2020, I was
Yeah.
gonna say.
August complex.
Yeah. I remember. That was a
But,
big.
I mean, it takes a little bit, we're looking at 5 years ago,
Yeah, yeah. How is it coming back after the fire?
A lot of brush is
Yeah,
coming
of course,
back,
right.
because there's no cover, I mean, and that's what happened,
Right.
back in the heavy logging days. is
Right.
They replanted, but the brush outgrew the trees,
Right.
choked trees out, so now you got these old growth manzanita thickets,
Yeah, I live in a town oak forest.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
wow.
Yeah,
don't
the
know
cycle is the succession, plant succession takes a long time.
there's been a big kind of movement I'm seeing in the Forest Service as well as the state, about more controlled or prescribed birding type
Yes,
thing.
yes,
So,
yes.
It's good and bad, the prime times to burn, are in the fall. I've been involved with some VMP programs before, vegetation management programs, and, we're all set to burn, and then you get a call from the Wine Growers Association, you can't burn because the smoke's
you'll
gonna
taint.
contaminate our grapes. So, there's so many different things that you're
Mhm.
dealing with when you're trying to pull something like this off,
What about some prescribed grazing?
Yeah, I
So
mean,
good.
that's something
Bring
you
some,
need to
bring
hit
some
it.
cows in.
Yeah, bring some goat, gonna eat goats for 'em?
Goats, you know what?
I have
That's-
some pretty well-trained sheep, but that's a long way out.
Long
man.
way
Yeah, they need to just stay there.
Yeah. I'm sure
there's some
Yeah,
ranchers in,
caretaker, yeah.
But it
in
needs,
Pueblo.
I mean, we kind of missed the window on that because the brush has grown up so high. It's,
Yeah.
once you get the
I
first
know.
growth, when the grasses start coming,
Yeah.
that's when you need to start
You're
managing.
gonna have to burn again.
Well, if it will burn again,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
there's so much dead and down,
Yeah.
it's
Oof.
very receptive fuel bed for anything that comes
Mhm.
through there, and it's gonna be so intense, it's gonna be really difficult to
They
put
need,
anybody
they need a
close to it.
management plan.
They need something.
They
Patty.
Yeah, they need a management
do.
plan and
Maybe-
maybe,
Yeah.
I was gonna say like maybe, Cal Poly Humboldt or somebody like that could take it on as a project.
Absolutely, yeah, I mean, but, or at least get the TA grant, to do that.
Yeah.
We just got a TA grant at Cherry Creek, and it
Mhm.
helps so much, get the bigger grant after that, and,
Yeah.
they do the lidograph and all that.
I know they're looking for
Yeah.
help. The MNF is,
Yeah.
they don't have really any personnel left.
It was 15 grand to do a TA grant. I mean, that's something they could even possibly come here for a T, just saying.
I don't know
Yeah.
that a study
Uh-huh.
would fit the parameters of our grant
Mhm.
program.
Okay.
We kind of have been focused on a lot of hands-on, get your
Yeah.
hands dirty, get
Yeah.
your feet
Yeah.
wet kind of projects.
Yeah, yeah,
But, it's always worth a,
yeah,
We are always looking for opportunity to introduce, our work into the
Yeah.
school systems.
yeah,
Like the
Yeah.
elementary schools and preschools and stuff like that,
Yeah.
getting kids out of the classroom. That
yeah.
project you helped me
Yeah.
on in Covelo, with the
The water meter.
the monitors
the
in the
monitors,
creek, I
uh-huh.
talked to some of the teachers
Yeah.
and they said the kids were just over the top about
They
that
always
stuff.
are,
Yeah.
it would be fun to get Pat in here, he probably could, he's gotta have some. He's helping us for Cherry Creek with this whole forest rehab situation.
Mhm.
And I just feel like people understanding that template of how to get from A to Z is so cool of all, what's available out there.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
Yeah.
sounds like Hammerhorn could really use some help like that
that's what my
too.
concern
Yeah.
is, the,
Forest
most of the
grant,
shade's
yeah.
gone. So, and that's not a
Yeah.
deep lake, so,
Oof. that's.
on these hot summer days,
So
what's that
bad.
gonna do to
Yeah.
the trout? Cause the trout likes cool water,
No,
so.
yeah, big ice
You know,
cube
one
won't work,
one
yeah.
hiccup in the pumping system, you know, if nobody's on it, that lake could go, you know, I mean, we're looking, it's gonna be pretty a sensitive thing there, so.
Does Hammerhorn Creek hold trout?
Mhm,
Is
I
that-
think
is
lower
that the
down,
Lower down, but,
yeah,
so it's not an actual trout concern in the wilderness designation,
Not-
it's just
not
a
the lake
designation
itself.
concern.
yeah,
But the creek, the diversion structure was not impacting native fish.
not to my understanding.
They just,
Yeah.
it's just wilderness, so they can't have a diversion even though it's
Right,
gravity.
when they redrew the lines, they didn't
Mhm.
take in that,
Hmm.
you know, all it is a concrete dam, you know, maybe 2 or 3 feet, you know, that, it's got a fish ladder and everything in it, and you just dug it out, you know, in the springtime, and got the flow going,
Mm.
type of
So are they
deal.
gonna deconstruct that?
Didn't sound like it. Oh,
It's too bad. I
Mm.
mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
it seems like a little arbitrary that they're gonna leave
Yeah.
an obstruction.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
And
we
then
can't
also
use it.
install
Yeah.
a solar pump too.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly, I don't
I
know.
wonder if we could petition for them.
I think, you know, I mean, we did kind of a roundtable discussion up there around one of the, you know, concrete picnic tables that survived the fire, so. But, I think there were some things brought up that, you know, maybe we better relook at this a little bit type of deal, so I think there was some wheels turning, and CDA's got some, you know, availability in their circle with different folks, you know,
Cool.
that they might be able to make something happen too,
I
so.
hope so.
So,
we have some.
this is a little off subject,
Sure.
but, you know, I know we all love our lakes. But I was recently involved, right before I retired, in a project in the Navarro where we had a pond, which was used for recreation and fire protection, that was in the center of an anadromous stream. And so we were trying to, you know, to retrofit a culvert downstream, and Fish and Wildlife came back to us and said, we'd be happy to help you if you take out the pond. And so it was a multi-million-dollar project, but we restored anadromy by taking the pond
What
out
does an
and
anadromy
reconnect,
mean?
you know, fish going up from the
Oh,
ocean
okay,
and back and
okay,
to
oh, oh,
spawn.
okay, thanks.
So,
Yeah.
if it's just trout that are in the stream, that wouldn't be an issue, but, it might be, at least part of the discussion would be restoring it to a stream, because it was a dammed stream to begin with, to make the lake. But you'd still have recreation value and probably have, opportunities, if you have a lake bed with all that silt in there, a revegetation project that would make it still a nice picnic and camping area, but you wouldn't necessarily have
Right.
lake fishing, but you
Right.
could potentially have stream fishing.
Yeah.
Right.
And it might just be a more feasible approach than trying to have something that's engineered that requires lots of ongoing maintenance.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
if anybody is interested in that project, I can send a link out and you can kind of look at that. How it was really hard because like a lot of the local people didn't want that pond
Of
removed, even though
course.
it was full of warm water fish.
A pond or a lake?
It was a pond, it was
Yeah.
a big pond.
Yeah.
It was,
How many acres?
I don't know how many acre feet is, but all that data is logged in
thing.
somewhere.
Yeah.
It was pretty good sized pond. And they had steelhead this year, go above where the pond was.
Awesome.
Yeah, we were hoping for coho, but,
yeah,
you know,
but still,
Didn't quite get the
yeah.
coho up there, but
Not yet.
it is a
anyway.
coho
Yeah.
stream
Yeah,
Interesting.
traditionally. But
fantastic.
it's, you know, in it, for a while, there's the disturbance regime where there's a lot of chips out there instead of, you know, nice, you know, huckleberry and sword fern and stuff like that. But that'll come. And actually, it could be revegetated, you know, if you have that, that soil base that you have
Yeah.
underneath that lake. I think it would be just really.
Just put it elderberries, the whole thing, and all the wildlife can eat it. Make
Yeah.
medicine.
Thimbleberries.
Thimbleberries, yes.
Anyway,
Cool.
well, that's a really interesting report. I'm sorry that it got so
I
hammered
am too.
Yeah.
by both the
And
wilderness designation and the fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think one kind of, do you think it would have anything to do with the fire, the reason that they
The
figured it out?
redesignation?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. You know, I don't know that Frank knew. I think this happened above his head, like some folks in
Mhm.
Washington DC,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, scribbling some new lines. on
Redistricting.
it.
Let's make a new map.
Yeah.
Let's send a drone out.
Yeah.
God.
So,
We're not gonna have any real people. We're just gonna have.
It's like, anyway.
I don't know if it's,
Whatever,
you know, I
yeah.
suggested, you know, reaching out to their congressman or
Yeah.
legislature and see
Yeah.
if they can get that adjusted to
Yeah.
you know, bring that diversion back in.
Yeah,
So, so, I mean, so the wheels were kind of spinning there a
Yeah,
little bit
right.
on something. so.
What else?
Worth a
Yeah.
try, it'd be the cheapest solution.
Excuse me?
Be the cheapest solution.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah, you know, let gravity do its work rather than having to, you know, put a solar powered pumping station in and stuff.
Oof.
Anyway, we'll see what comes up. I don't know when they're gonna do another site visit. but-
Just one more quick question,
Sure.
just to learn from you
Yeah.
about the Minnesota National Forest, because it's such an important resource here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that with the lack of staffing, do they have kind of a campground prioritization? Or are they kind of leaking money towards all these campgrounds and maybe not getting anything to a critical threshold to have it be?
In my opinion, this was a campsite categorization, you know, type of deal because of the work that, you know, we put into it. It was,
Right, the bathrooms.
the work that
Yeah.
our Fish and Game Commission did to it because it was an accessible lake and we made it, you know, with our volunteer program. And, it got recognition in Washington DC for the work, you know, so there was a lot of, positive energy around Hammerhorn Lake, you know, and it hadn't been stocked in, 5 or 6 years. Fish and Wildlife said, hey, look, Forest Service isn't maintaining it.
Yeah.
So they walked away from stocking. You know, it basically was a, you know, like a wetlands is what it basically, you know, because there was no water diversion and stuff. So we were able to, you know, work with the Mendocino National Forest, and the only thing we had to leave was the quarter of the east side for the western pond turtle habitat, you know. And but with that, we placed trees in it, you know, at
Yeah.
everybody's specs, and then we dredged out the front half with all volunteer. Well, the Forest Service did bring a backhoe and a dump truck from Stony Ford, and then we ran it. You know, I had folks with Class A licenses and
Yeah.
stuff in our volunteer group.
I mean, yeah, it's just.
And then there
been
was
such
a lot of folks from Covelo, O'Farrell Construction. They brought their equipment up and did all the work, you know. So it was a lot of fun times up there, and it was so sad to go up there right after the fire with stuff still smoking with Frank. You know, he wanted me to take a look at it. Just all the work we did up there, you know. And
all the good vibes too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so that
But
was
with your sense of the forest, if they were gonna get 7 campgrounds top notch to try to get more activity and love for that forest, would this be in the top 7?
I would say so. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, we really only have 4 campgrounds in the Covelo district. It's Eel River, and then Hammerhorn, excuse me, Howard. Well, actually, Plaskett's in Stony Ford district. So there's really only 3. You know, well, there's Wells Cabin, but I'm talking about ones with a fishery on it. The other ones
Yeah.
are just campgrounds. So, but all of the like Wells Cabin and a lot of the other ones, that infrastructure was all burned up too. You know, so camping's nice. You know, dry camping's tough. You know, so it's nice to have a couple of water spigots for
Absolutely.
folks to
yeah.
get some
Yeah.
water to boil and cook with and wash up.
Yeah.
You know, and a little bit of fire protection and whatnot. But I don't know. You know, it's just with the mismanagement of the forest. You know, over the years and the overgrowth and stuff. You know, in my opinion, you know, a lot of the folks that were in Covelo when I was growing up, you know, the biologists, the foresters, the engineers, they're all gone. All those positions went away. So there's really nobody left to do any work, in my opinion. It's mainly all admin stuff, you know.
Yeah.
So and I think that's why CDA is involved, because they have a broad band of folks and volunteers and people that work within their organization. They've kind of contracted with the Mendocino National Forest to take on some of these projects, just because there's no staffing on the Forest Service side. So I don't know how that works. I don't know how the money's transferred in that region. But, so
It'd be cool to get the conservation kids out there and let them camp and sort out for a while.
what was that?
The conservation kids.
Oh,
California
3C?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's such a great resource, I think.
They are,
those
and they
kids.
just built that.
Yeah.
I just toured that facility they built in Willits. It's just absolutely
I'm
amazing.
so stoked on that.
Yeah.
That's one of the things with that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tosh. Yeah.
Okay, moving along here. Item number 5, discussion on possible action regarding habitat impacts due to illegal encampments.
Oh,
So, I guess, Tracy, you're the only person who wasn't here, but just to recap,
Yes, I have a question, yeah.
we had a presentation in Fort Bragg, which included Matt Kendall and Bernie Norvell and the Fort Bragg Police Department representative. And was there anybody from the Land Trust there?
Mhm.
There was.
Yeah, I
Okay.
can't remember his name, but
Yeah, there was
Yeah.
somebody from the Land
two
Trust.
people from the land trust.
Yeah. Anyway, and so we discussed the possible, like, what could our group,
Yeah.
the commission, do to support the efforts to protect fish and wildlife and water quality in these areas potentially impacted by encampments.
Okay.
So we kind of got a little bit, I think, for me, off topic into the cause of homelessness and characterization of who these people might be. And I feel like as an organization, we have to be careful of mission drift, that we don't get into something that is more a sociological problem that we probably don't have the resources to address or necessarily is in our mission to address. But the health of the watershed and the health of these streams is important, I believe. And so I volunteered to come up with some grant ideas. And
Okay.
so the first page here is the
Okay.
highlighted blue areas are from the Cal Recycle website, which are for funds that could potentially be used to do cleanup on encampments. The other one, the ERF program, is specifically targeted towards cleanups, and it is a revolving fund through the state. I believe there was a pretty large appropriation of funding. It seems like they've spent half of it. So I think that's probably the best resource for the city of Fort Bragg or the county to tap into. I don't know that as a group we would be eligible. And then to just sort of go back to, there's a program called NPDES, which is all part of Clean Water Act. People have heard of TMDLs and that sort of thing. That would be to designate which watersheds are impaired, and would, and then there's sort of an emphasis on making, bringing them into compliance.
Right.
And so then that means that, like, the city has to come up with a plan, and then they have to, target a certain time period frame which they will come under compliance to not have an impaired watershed anymore. Unfortunately, or for just our reference here, the city of Fort Bragg is in a part of a phase 2 program. I don't exactly know what they're doing. I haven't really reached out to the city of Fort Bragg or the county to find out what measures they're taking. If you flip to the back page, this is from a report that was done by the North Coast Regional Water Quality Control Board, which has for coastal pathogen source. So in order to usually apply for state funding for water quality, you have to be in a watershed that is a priority watershed, either impairment under a designation or some data-driven target that says, oh yeah, you've got a problem in your watershed. And so I just copied this out of their report, which shows that they did studies in the bays outside of these confluence areas where the water from the stream hits the beach. And these are areas where they sampled filter feeders, shellfish, and figured, they could tell by them sampling them that they had toxins. So pathogens, fecal.
Oh my.
And so
like if
the
you
ones that
ate
say
those.
dog,
Yeah.
which include Mendocino Bay, Big River, Casper Beach, and Hare Creek Beach. Hare Creek Beach also has fecal coliform from humans, Pudding Creek Beach as well, and then the regulatory agency that is charged with overseeing these, Mendocino County Department of Environmental Health is one for Hare Creek Beach, And Hare Creek Beach, I believe, is where the largest encampment of unsheltered folks are along the coastal area there. And so then the implementation timetable of whatever plan that they have in place. 2028 for both Hare Creek and Pudding Creek, which is where the human contamination is.
All right.
And if we're talking about, unsheltered areas, it could be both human and dog.
Right.
The Mendocino Land Trust is helping on Hare Creek. And part of what they're doing, there's a quote here about Mendocino Land Trust pet waste control measures. Number 3, when encampments in the watershed grow in the summer and fall as a result, people being active in the creek, the trust works with the Mendocino County Sheriff's Department and also sends a 1602, which is a stream bed alteration permit form, to the Mendocino County Sheriff's Department. 602. I don't know what a 602 is. Not a 1602.
602 is usually a trespass.
Trespass thing. So they get to go on the property.
Yeah.
Each month, allowing them to work on behalf of the trust, and during Coastal Cleanup Day every September. Land Trust members clear out all the trash accumulated from the encampments. So one of my recommendations is that I volunteer to contact the Mendocino Land Trust and see if they want or need funding to help support that cleanup effort.
Oh, cool.
And they could apply to our grants program. And then, if you want, I could send this over to somebody, or maybe you can do that, Adrian. I really didn't come up with, here's the best source and here's the money. But I think the ERF program is the one funding source is targeted about. They probably already know about it.
But it's so cool how you did this is a plan of action that we could take.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
I would like to see
Yeah.
this forwarded to,
Yeah.
Cal Fish and Game, Patty's work, the
Yeah,
sheriff, Fort Bragg
Yeah.
Police, Mendocino Land Trust, and CC
Yeah.
the Board of Supervisors in it. if that's
Yeah.
appropriate.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's still kind of rough cut. I
Are
might
we-
need a little intro.
can we do a thing like after, like say they get a grant and say they implement, do what they're doing and say it, and then they test again and see. I mean, it's so interesting. I'd love to see if we can get results.
Well, the thing that I think that it would be important for us as a group to focus on is making sure that it aligns with our mission and our,
I think it does, Patty.
yeah, and I think that
really
if,
do.
I was looking for data that showed that, homeless encampments, so Russian River
Yeah.
does have a TMDL for pathogens. And those pathogens can include agricultural.
What's
they
the
can include
TMDL?
TMDL, total maximum daily load, which means how much
Uh-huh.
pollution is allowed in a system
Aha.
to whether it exceeds that threshold. And
Okay.
then they are what is considered an impaired watershed and an adjudicated watershed, meaning that
Ah.
they are under a compliance order to
Clean it
clean up
up.
their act.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there is one on the Russian, only for pathogens though.
Wow.
Not for
wow.
sediment,
Right. The
not for
pathogens,
temperature.
And that's like a poop thing. Or
It could be anything, I
Anything,
mean,
yeah.
a pathogen means that the water quality is out of whack,
Could
you
be
know?
runoff from.
It could be
Runoff,
pesticides,
runoff.
it could be,
Yeah.
it's runoff.
it's
anything.
probably the
Yeah.
biggest one. I mean, I don't know for sure, but,
Right.
I'm kind of guessing.
It's so funny because I was thinking about this issue,
Mhm.
about the whole thing and like what you're saying, like what was it, mission drift, and I was like, and I was like, well, our job is to protect that. The homeless isn't our issue, but the land and water is our issue. They're like separate issues, but one,
There's an
plays-
interface
There's an
there.
interface,
And we can't really
exactly.
get into a thing where we're gonna
Right.
talk about
Fix
what
the
causes
homeless,
it, how
yeah.
to fix it, because
Right.
it's not what we do.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
But we do,
That's my opinion.
but we do want to remedy and mitigate like the situation. It's-
Well,
yeah,
Fortunately or unfortunately, I
Yes.
could not find any studies that were
Yeah.
directly connected on coastal streams to whether fish habitat and wildlife habitat had been impaired by,
Poop.
people camping out.
yeah.
So if there was such a thing, and there maybe is for the Russian,
Mm.
I don't know, but I'm just
Mm.
talking coastal right now.
Yes.
Because our meeting was on the coast, and it seemed like that's where they were asking for help.
Right.
So there is fun, like maybe you've heard about the Coastal Cleanup Day, which happens in September, and they have a group on the Russian River who go out and pick up the trash and in the past have been cleaning up, the leftovers from encampments. They
Yeah.
can't do that anymore. The Regional Water Quality Control Board said that they can't do that.
Why?
So I'm not exactly sure why.
Interesting.
I can guess because probably it's toxic and they don't want the liability if they're funding something like that and they're having volunteers out there.
No way!
I don't
That's
know.
crazy.
I don't know,
Yeah,
but
okay,
it
yeah.
seems to me that, then there's another, there was another report that talked about how different areas have mitigated the damage from homeless camps. And one of the things that I thought was really interesting, and I'm not gonna put any value judgment on this,
Yeah.
is that in some areas, they put liens on the properties of people who are just turning a blind eye to what's happening on their property. And so,
Oh.
that would not be very popular on the coast. But it is something where you have to say, if I had property and I had people camping on it illegally, I would do something to make it less desirable for
Heck
them to
yeah.
be there, like a caretaker,
Yeah.
fencing,
Yeah.
close off access.
Bad looks. Yeah, but like, what about, here's the question.
Yeah.
So like, when I would like say, like when I did Hotline or whatever, there's people and they would do silly things all the time. Then you educate them and they're like, oh my gosh, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that like having any kind of educational signage or anything like that would impact, have any effect? Or it just doesn't matter because they're in a whole nother homeless bubble? I don't know, but education of like, you are impacting wildlife and then how?
Potentially,
Yeah.
but according to this, what I could find,
Yeah.
so it's,
Yeah.
here I am, kind of the data geek.
Yeah.
Looks to me like dogs are just as bad as humans
Yeah.
in terms of, polluting
Dog poop. Yeah.
the water course.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think signage for dog owners who are just letting their dogs poop on the beach, which is
Yeah.
not only bad for water quality, it's
Yeah.
affecting the
It's like so dumb.
the pinnipeds, the seals and the sea lions.
Those little, isn't there poop bags everywhere now and then you just wear
Yeah.
it as like a little.
But a
belt thing?
signage
Yeah.
is good too.
Yeah.
They,
signage, yeah.
they have the poop bags
Yeah,
up on the dam.
Yeah.
I walk up on the dam,
yeah.
and I'm amazed at the amount of dog poop that is around that people don't even
And you're
use
like,
the
did
bags.
you not even see
And
the
they're
bags?
there. As you walk in, the dispenser is right there,
Wow.
Yeah.
and they'll just ignore it and go.
Maybe we should say, save wildlife, poop it up, or bag up your poop or
Yeah.
something. They don't even know maybe. Maybe
Hot
they could-
diggity, gotta bag it up.
Yeah, exactly. Save a fish today. Yeah, well, something. I don't know.
I
Yeah.
think signage would be like,
Yeah.
if there again, I think that if I talk to, or whoever wants to,
Mm.
talk to the Mendocino Land Trust, it seems to me like they would be a good applicant. I think the city of Fort
Okay.
Bragg coming to us, it's a little bit of a misfit. Like they can plug into resources that we can't.
Understood. I have a couple, I talk to the land trust often
Mhm,
and I
yeah.
wouldn't mind having that on my chore list
Yeah,
if you want me to. But I
Okay.
think you should because you have.
we could
like-
both do it,
Yeah, how about, yeah.
a subcommittee.
A yeah, CC me on the letter. I have two really good ones. Yeah, another
What a-
subcommittee, Patty.
There was
Yeah.
also, that particular meeting was my first meeting, so I don't know much about how this organization works. There was some seriously complicated politics between CDFW enforcement and the sheriffs,
Ah.
and we were kind of like the baseball field for them to play on.
Yeah.
But I personally don't think we need to go too far down this rabbit hole because it is way above our pay
Yeah.
grade.
Yeah,
And ultimately, this is about,
City of Kaya.
City of Ukiah, where are
I
these
mean,
people
Fort
gonna
Bragg,
go?
yeah.
I don't think that people are wanting to be under the bridge. I think there's less enforcement there than other places
Mm-hmm.
because it's challenging to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And there was clearly, the purpose of that meeting was for those two organizations to have
It out.
a
Yeah.
framework to
Yeah.
talk. And I personally think we can kind of let that go.
Okay.
Because we served the function of that meeting that they needed to have, because it had to do with very high level legalistic choices that are made about who makes the enforcement.
And I mentioned that in the meeting, I
Mhm.
told both the sheriff
Yeah.
and the wardens that, look, we're just an advisory panel to the board of supervisors.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We have no law enforcement capabilities whatsoever.
Right.
We just,
We just
basically an
care.
advisory panel's all we
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
So, I do agree with Kyle on that.
Yeah.
However, Patty's work done here, I think should be forwarded to
Missing
the
land
sheriff.
trust.
And then say, have a nice day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is
not us,
This is
yeah.
what we've come up with, you know, I
Yeah.
hope it helps, you know, and
Yeah.
But I
Thank you,
think that
Patty.
the reaching out to the land trust is still a good
Me
idea.
too, maybe
Because
the
if they
signage.
wanted to apply for something that
Yeah.
was in terms of signage or
Yeah,
gloves or something for a cleanup, I mean,
Yeah.
I think that's still within our purview. But I think
Yeah.
getting involved in that, rotation of,
Well, I mean,
your
if
fault,
it's-
no,
if
it's your
it's-
fault, no.
if it's that serious of a thing that's causing this impact, you know, the pollution of
Yeah.
the water, I mean, maybe they need to look at fining people, you know, it's no different than littering.
Yeah,
You know,
But-
you fail to pick up your dog manure, it's a $750 ticket.
I think Hare Creek and Pudding Creek are both outside the city of Fort Bragg city
Dang.
limits. I think,
non-incorporated
I'm pretty sure,
or unincorporated?
unincorporated. I can double check on that.
Well, and I think that's what we were kind of witnessing, is that the sheriff wants CDFW to be more involved with directly making citations.
Mhm.
Yes,
Yeah.
But
law
the
enforcement.
CDFW was saying, well, you can enforce our codes.
He doesn't
But
have
they
the
felt like
manpower,
they,
Yeah.
staffing.
neither one has staffing, and they also, once those fines get up into the legal structure, then they have to assign staffing not only
Yeah.
to be there enforcing, but they also have to go be at the legal proceedings.
Yeah.
Right, show
So
up.
it's just, and then the
Yeah.
sheriff saying, he's so understaffed, this is like way down the priority.
Wouldn't it
so
be cool if we
we're
could
just-
deputize community members per specific things?
Oh, that really worked well with ICE.
Right, right. It makes the human makes the whole thing. Like, okay,
You know-
but I'll just forget that right now. Yeah, that's just
Just
yeah.
like
I
the,
don't
like the
know.
John
You
Wayne
know.
movie.
Yeah.
Personally,
Hey there.
Personally, I
Yeah.
think that what they talked about,
Yeah.
like what the Fort
Yeah.
Bragg Police Department was talking about,
Yeah.
sounded like they were really trying to help people, and that
Yeah.
people who wanted to get help were helping. But the bottom line is there is no housing.
There's nothing.
There is no. I mean, we outsource all of our mental
You can't find a
health
homeless
stuff.
person, though. I mean, you can find someone for the poop, but like, you can't find a homeless person, and what are they gonna do?
You know, in Mendocino County, I helped with, so that's down, it was out of Kernville, it was Silver Estates, it was a privately owned piece of property down there.
Mhm,
Save the Redwood League bought it, and they had
Uh-huh.
me go into, there was homeless encampments on it, so I went in there, you know, and worked with them, had to go with the sheriff a couple times, you know, the Sonoma County, but there's a lot more, tools for them in their toolbox down
I
there,
know.
meaning, places for these folks to go or resources for them to get help.
Yeah.
And it was a long, drawn-out deal, but, you know, they ended up leaving the property in a friendly manner,
Yeah.
for the most part. And we went and cleaned up the camps, and they haven't been back, so.
Yeah,
Did
but
they-
go
It was
somewhere
just
else.
Giving them the
Yeah.
time for the resources, but, you know, it was handled at, you know, not a very aggressive level, in my opinion, you know.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's nice.
But I don't know that we have that option in Mendocino County. I think Sonoma County is a little bit more flush with funding when it comes
A
to
little
dealing
bit
with
more,
this
just
thing.
slowly.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
so this is
Yeah.
probably not a very nice thing to say, but I think I already said it in
Cool,
not so many
Patty.
words, and that is
Yeah.
that I still think that the landowner bears some responsibility for stewarding their property. You know, if you have property and you have people camping there that are uninvited, I think that, making it less desirable for them to be there is one thing. I mean, it doesn't solve the overall problem, but I don't think that it's our problem as a commission to
No.
figure out where these people are gonna
It's
go.
not.
or
No,
how
it's
to clean
not
them
our
up.
problem. I agree.
It's
No.
more of like,
Yeah.
how can we make people more aware that there is a water quality problem? I mean,
Mission
people could be
trip.
getting sick drinking water out of there too, so.
Yeah. I think getting in touch with the land trust, possibly they'll like do
Yeah.
some signage that say
Yeah.
this equals saving wildlife, like
Yeah.
putting them together in their mind, because it's so sad, but so many people, they're just so disassociated about what they're doing and how it affects the world.
And it's not only the
Yeah.
water, it's the whole riparian area in there that
Yeah.
they damage, you know, where the
Right.
willows
It's
grow
so
and they make their
much.
camps,
Yeah.
and, you know, it's more than just the water.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
I
So
wish
also
it- yeah.
the other state parks is also involved.
yes,
Pudding Creek and,
Yeah, I think they were at the meeting, State Park was there too.
Oh,
So do
you
we
did
need to
good
make a
work.
motion to have this information shared with the sheriff? And is Patty, is that what, you'd like to have it forwarded to the sheriff and Fish and Wild? I'd like to see it go to Dawn and,
Yeah.
you know.
I think
the Wild.
whoever, I think I'm ready to let it go and to just
Yeah.
do with Tracy,
Yeah.
we have like an informal, do we have to form a subcommittee to reach out to the land trust?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Okay,
We
well,
could just
do
have,
our
like-
thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We could even have
okay.
like set
I
up
would
a,
say as an advisory commission to the board, maybe you submit this as an informational item
Mhm.
on one of
Yeah.
their September agendas. You wouldn't have to be present, but you would need to draft a letter and comment to go with the email.
I can do that.
We can get a
And
hold
then
of
that way
then-
they formally receive it and may take more interest in the information.
So we wait to send it out to the sheriff and Fish and Game until the board of supervisors looks at it?
Until you have a letter from whoever wants to draft it, you could always sign it as chair.
Sure.
And then we submit it to the board probably September 23rd. That should give us enough time to route it.
Could you
And then
do
our
that, Patty?
director would review it and we
Yeah.
can upload,
I'll write
The
something to
email.
you and CC both of you.
and then we can work on a formal letter that he
Yeah.
will sign as chair.
Cool.
And then we can upload
Or,
it
I
to one
mean,
of the board's
Patty's
agendas.
assistant chair too,
Yeah,
she
she
can
can
sign
sign
it.
as vice chair.
Yeah,
Vice
vice
chair
chair,
for
I
the
mean.
commission. But that way you can kind of lump in
Yeah.
all the research that you've done into the letter so
Oh,
they
this
see
was
it.
like, 3 hours at the computer. It was not a lot of research. There is not really a lot out there. I think that one of the other things that, and I'm sure they're aware of it, is that Gavin Newsom has really cut back on future funding for addressing the homeless issue. He says they've been throwing money at it, and it just
Not going anywhere.
not going anywhere. Yeah, so,
It'd be so cool if they had just a bunch of little items.
well, there's probably models in other communities, and we just need to look outside the
I
box.
think
And,
so.
and you
But
know,
not our, but not the Fish and Game Commission.
not the Fish and Game Commission.
Yeah,
That's kind of how I.
yeah,
Good work, Patty, thank you.
yeah,
Yeah, good job, as usual.
super good.
Yeah.
We're so lucky.
Okay, moving along here, 5B, discussion of possible action regarding coyote management in California. I haven't heard anything more about it, have you heard anything?
No, I haven't, I even stopped my, my Project Coyote feed, so I'm like really not,
Kyle, the
Yeah.
sheep farmers, world,
Yeah.
you guys heard anything about that?
Just, I don't know what the latest is, but they were trying to create different regulations where coyotes would be,
I think it's been dropped for the most part.
yeah,
from
but I
what
don't know if it's
understand.
been submitted or what the next level is.
Yeah, I don't know if it's under review
I
at the state level, with the Fish and Game Commission, I'm not sure, I haven't heard anything more about it, but
Yeah,
it seemed like it was a hot potato for a while, but it's kinda cooled off now.
I haven't heard them howling lately.
Oh, there's plenty of them out
Oh,
there.
I'm sure there are. They're not in my neighborhood though.
My farmers network isn't asking me to write anything,
Mm.
but I know that like Project Coyote is trying to promote writing letters on its behalf, so.
Okay. So it could still be out there?
Possibly.
We could probably scratch that from the next agenda. I'd like to leave Patty's on there though with the habitat.
Has this group sent something to the state commission at some point about that topic, or what's?
I think I sent a letter of inquiry about what was going on with it.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted more detail and explanation, but didn't get anything in return.
But we're not gonna just find out one day that they had a vote,
I would hope it would be somehow somebody in one of our circles would know what something was
How
going on.
about Fish and Wildlife? Their wildlife biologist might be.
Camden, you mean?
Camden?
Yeah.
She hasn't mentioned anything to me,
No,
anything more about it, so. I think it was gonna be more of an adopted thing to where it was a license type
Mhm.
deal, or it was, had to have almost like some sort of a depredation permit,
Uh-huh,
and
uh-huh.
that's
Well,
my
like a
understanding.
season to avoid
I
petting
don't
season.
know that it was something.
I
of that
just read
nature,
something
yeah.
about like more treating it like a deer than a
Right.
predator management
Exactly,
session.
yeah. So, okay, number 6, matters from the commission. Nobody? Staff reports or announcements?
Nothing new from us.
Nothing from us?
Has
Go ahead.
anybody else been hearing about elk sightings? There's
Yeah.
one in Hopland, Yorkville.
What do you
They
mean
seem
elk
to be
sightings?
dispersing. The Thule elk seem to be dispersing,
Meaning
New herds popping up?
new
or at
herds?
least individuals.
So in Laytonville, I mean, they're everywhere there,
Yeah.
but I'd be looking for what?
No, so there was a confirmed elk sighting in Hopland, and nobody knows where that one ran.
Oh, so it broke off and is starting like a whole new situation in Hopland? Is that
Possibly, yeah,
Okay,
and then also in Yorkville.
some young man or,
I don't know.
yeah.
I
Well,
know
That's how
they're
it
still
usually
on,
goes.
that, not Branscombe Road, what's the next
they're
one?
Toolies, yeah.
One that has Hales Grove in that area. along Cottoneva Creek.
Oh,
They
yeah.
pop up around
Highway
there.
1 up there?
Yeah, Highway one.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, cool,
Yeah, those
yeah.
are Roosevelt's come
Oh,
from.
that's Roosevelt's?
They're,
Okay.
they're kind of, they make their way through the,
Oh, they got it from the Sinkyone kind of area,
Mhm.
okay.
That's nice
They're
that there's
big.
truly, yeah.
Yeah.
We have the Roosevelts, I'm pretty sure, in Laytonville, right?
No, those are the Thule.
We have the Thule too, that's why
Oh.
they don't leave, they
I
just stay
think they're
right there
kind
in
of,
the
the
valley.
Roosevelts are kind of
right.
moving.
I had a
over in that
Roosevelt
area,
come
though.
in last year and killed 2 of the biggest bulls within a day.
Really?
Wow.
He was something like 18 inches taller than the biggest Thule.
No kidding.
But
That's a
Fish and Wildlife
Roosevelt.
at this point has, based on a single study, has said that they have no interest in kind of managing for not having the Roosevelts take out the Thules.
Wow.
Because you imagine such a bigger animal, when they lock
Yeah.
antlers, the Roosevelt
Right.
antlers are so much longer than the Thules that the Roosevelt just wins every time.
Wow.
So,
So you
wow.
had 2
And
Thule
BS.
bulls killed?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
I mean, there's
But-
gotta be like a hybrid thing, right, the Thules, I mean, they not?
They can.
They can, yeah.
But it's through human action and through 1976, they said that Thules should be reintroduced to any appropriate habitat. So Thules were in Owens Valley. They've been moved into all these places and we've created a conduit. And now we're creating a linkage between Roosevelt and Thules that sort of logically could result in Roosevelt genetics taking out Thules.
Hmm.
Because Roosevelt are so much bigger.
Were,
Right.
were the Roosevelts native in that Humboldt area, or?
That's my understanding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
But
Wow.
I think it's something to be concerned about because
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
like we've created that conduit, and then also, Thules have evolved for specific conditions. So you could imagine a 2-phased issue where phase 1 is in good times, good rain years. Thules are smaller bodied, are gonna do better in really bad drought years, and so on and so forth.
Mhm.
So if you lost that Thule genetics,
Mm.
then, and you have these really big Thule Roosevelt hybrids, then in the bad years, you could actually have even bigger problems
Right.
with these Thule.
Yeah, and that's not uncommon, with the mule deer and the blacktail,
Mhm.
interacting in their territories and stuff, and the crossbreeding and stuff, there's a lot of.
And that's where
There's
blacktail
some-
small bodied, that's why
Exactly.
they evolved to be small bodied.
Yeah.
So we have small bodied animals here, and if we create these situations, then the small body animals are gonna lose out. I luckily noticed it during hunting season and directed our next share hunter towards that elk.
Hmm.
Go get 'em.
Ah, nice one! I was like,
And they were really happy.
see that Roosevelt?
They were pretty
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I talked to
Yeah.
Carrington, the elk biologist, and she directed me to the Fish and Wildlife
Carrington,
policy, which
right.
is that they don't manage for that genetics. But theoretically, if you wanted to manage that genetics, you could be on the lookout for it and
That's
create
great.
out of season hunts.
Yeah.
And the
to handle-
hunter's so happy because they see huge elk.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and make the poor. I mean, they were beautiful Thules that just.
Wh- Which ones are those in Willits
Those are Thules.
those are Thules? Those
They would be.
They're
They
so
would be.
beautiful.
They would be
Yeah.
kind of. If I was an elk, if I was a Roosevelt, I would try to make it down to that.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. They've got pretty,
Flush, good, nice.
yeah, they've got
flush.
good, they've got good habitat
Pampered.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder, like when, so we brought in the word Thules, were they here? I mean, I feel like it's like, I heard yes, I've heard no. Like, what is it? Were they here? Were they not here? Not
I've
here.
heard both. They
I've
seem
heard-
to
yeah.
do well. I can't think of a real logical reason why they wouldn't have
Right.
moved into this
I
area.
mean, I look at a lot like the naming of the ridges and stuff, or the valley, Elk
Yeah.
Creek Valley
Yeah.
and stuff, what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
They were probably named because
And there's
somebody saw
Thules
elk there
everywhere,
one
so like,
time.
yeah. I mean, yeah.
They certainly
Yeah.
weren't
Yeah.
up at the dry creek bed of the eel on the where Pillsbury is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, good.
Okay,
Yeah.
good, and then just remember, in your travels that we're still, one chair down on the coastal commission at large, so.
So that we have 3 people from the coast.
Who's third?
But I think that.
I don't know. I think I just.
Well, we
felt that-
3 positions.
We have 3
But at large is
positions.
is
Yeah.
vacant,
Yeah.
but
at
we can
large.
always get a, what do they
It's
call
hard
that?
to get people to
Waiver.
drive all the way from the
I
coast.
know, right?
But
Not
we
that
can get
that's not a good idea.
We can get a waiver if it's somebody more locally.
Right.
Anderson Valley or something.
Or Ukiah?
Well,
Joe's the only one from Ukiah, I think. and
Erin
Kyle's from
Erin Kyle from NRCS was interested. She went to a couple meetings way back when,
Yeah,
and she used to be on the school board, you know,
Mhm.
Potter Valley.
yeah,
I could outreach to her again.
that'd be
Do you know her,
thank
Kyle, to
you.
reach out to her and see if she'd be interested?
And if there wasn't Deborah maybe interested, or,
Pardon?
I thought Deborah was maybe interested or something.
Maybe, I don't know.
Okay.
She's kind of
Interesting.
retired these
Okay,
days.
You
yeah.
can
that's-
create a voucher to have 2 inland at large rather than a coastal at large and an
Mhm.
inland at large. Even though, you know.
No,
through-
she'd still be coastal at large, there'd just be a waiver that she doesn't have to live on the coast,
Okay,
right?
yeah, because through her work, she's, you know, familiar with erosion issues around the county.
No, I
Absolutely.
think she'd be
Yeah,
great
She's
to
an
have on the
engineering
board.
geologist
Yeah.
Oh, that would be so
That'd be
smart.
awesome,
That'd be awesome.
and a hunter.
yeah.
Awesome, even better, yeah.
And she,
So is that something
She
that we should
uses
add to our
goats to
agenda regarding
backpack.
this elk stuff, Kyle? Is that something you wanna talk about more in a?
Yeah, the elk stuff is so interesting. I feel like it's one of our main issues, right? I mean, is our elk stuff.
Well, I definitely think, you know, these informal citizen science networks of people noticing things, we can
Yes.
be more of a conduit to fish and wildlife. Also, you know, if you look at the dispersion, like 2 of the major irrigators in Potter Valley chose not to irrigate this year. So that could be a causal factor in why these elk are moving around. And if you look a few years down the line, the Pillsbury herd is reliant on the receding lake bed for their protein,
Uh-huh.
and the Potter Valley herd is relying on irrigated pasture for their protein. So you're looking at 15% of the Thule elk in the world are about to be without habitat.
Yeah, whoa,
So
wow,
I-
we
I
should
noticed
look
that
at that.
too, you know, in
Yeah.
Laytonville, when Shamrock was run by Mike Prescott.
Yeah,
They kept those alfalfa fields
Nice
just
and wet.
gorgeous.
Yeah.
And now it looks, it's just star thistle and foxtail out
it's
there, so.
yes, and you know who would be fun, who I could see if he could come is, Deeper Dodd, maybe he could give, let's ask him if he wants to come and do a report, right? And just kind of get all the peeps in the room, okay, I'll write that down. Cool.
So can we put that on for next
Yeah.
agenda?
Uh-huh.
Elk discussion?
I mean, to me, we need to be thinking about migration, movement, and corridors between the
Thank you.
existing Thule elk habitat. At the same time, we need to be thinking about managing for the corridor that connects the Roosevelt and
Yeah.
Thule.
Mm-hmm.
And potentially, just looking at what Fish and Wildlife is basing their policy choice to not try to manage for that genetics. It's based on a single study and perhaps needs to be
Yeah.
questioned a
I
little bit.
So
love
would
that
that be an
kind of-
area where
yeah.
they might consider more share tags to keep the?
Yes, share
The-
tags.
Share tags, but also, you know, in Del Norte with the Roosevelt, they've had significant hoof rot issues. And one of the policies that it changed there, in order to create more motion on behalf of the elk and to keep their hooves from rotting, they need to get them to move.
Yeah.
So now they have year-round hunting. So that year-round pressure kind of rewilds that elk movement a little bit.
Interesting.
So
Aha.
in that instance where the Roosevelt showed up, it happened to be during hunting season. But even if it was out of hunting season, we might want to trigger an out-of-season tag
Yeah,
if the goal is to manage to retain Thule elk
The
genetics.
genetics, yeah, no, that's
I
a
wonder
big
if
one.
anybody like at UC Davis or Cal or somebody might be taking this up as a project, like a research project. Because if Fish and Wildlife doesn't do it, then you're really kind of leaning
Right.
on academia to potentially step in
like a capstone or something.
and then it's kind of hard to ignore that, you know?
Yeah.
You can say, oh, we don't have the resources or we don't think that's a problem, but if somebody else comes along, like the Peter Moyle of salmon, or, you know, for
Yeah.
the elk,
That would-
could
Yeah,
think
you
that
know,
it's
they have,
needed.
Fish and Wildlife has robust collaring programs.
Yeah.
But Berkeley has, you know, their range department is integrated within their data science division. So they have the ability to do data analysis
Yeah.
on collars that is way above what Fish and Wildlife is going
That'd
to
be
try to do.
fabulous.
Is this something we could bring like the Hopland Field Station in? Is that?
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a grand idea.
yeah, it'd be a
So,
great,
What
yeah.
if we had Deaver and who, John Bailey, or no, who would we ask from HREC?
I mean,
Or
I,
nobody, yeah,
I'm really involved more with Berkeley Wildlife are the ones that are doing
Okay.
the elk. I mean,
Yeah.
HREC, I mean, there were, the elk that was spotted
Yeah.
near HREC was, I mean, then Hopland was near HREC, so HREC
Mhm.
may soon be
What's ATRAC?
managing,
Yeah.
Hubland Research.
Oh,
and
that's what they
Extension
call
Center.
it.
And is that connected with Berkeley, or is it connected just generally with the
It's
UC
connected
system?
generally to the UC. so.
Uh-huh.
So maybe we could zoom them in or something.
Yeah.
We could zoom them in. Okay. When is our next meeting, guys? Yeah.
October 14th. And did you want it to be traveling to Willits or in Ukiah?
October 14th?
Correct.
I believe Monday is a holiday, the 13th, so.
Might be it's red on the calendar, I can't tell from here though. I guess I could look at a bigger
Okay.
calendar.
I think, I think it's a.
October 13th is a
Indigenous
holiday.
People's Day.
Is that what they call, it used to be Columbus Day?
Used to be Columbus.
Sweet.
Indigenous
Right.
Peoples' Day.
There you go. That takes care of everything. You just named a day.
So where's it
at?
It's
So
also Canadian Thanksgiving.
That's kind of early in the year. Okay.
Really?
We can do Willits or Ukiah. If you wanted to travel or not travel that month, it's up to you. Where you'd like us to host the meeting.
Well,
Where
Personally
we have it
speaking-
in Willits? This is,
Probably the museum, but I'd have to look at sites. I mean, we control the
I mean, it's,
ability to get the
I
museum.
vote Ukiah.
yeah. Let me-
yeah,
It's 6 room way, half a dozen for Kyle, and I usually schedule business with
I
my
would
work
vote
down here.
Ukiah as well. It's just easier.
it's fine.
Perfect. Ukiah, October 14th,
What time?
2 p.m.
Let's go travel to the coast when it's dark, gets darker
That's why we did
earlier. Yeah,
summer.
yeah.
But you missed it.
No, not, I know, but rub it in, yeah.
It doesn't start until October.
What?
Daylight savings
Daylight savings?
ends.
Yeah, so then the one that's really dark. will be
It's
the
not really dark at 2 o'clock though, you know,
Yeah,
even if
true.
you,
I'm glad, I know, it used to be, that's right, because we changed our time.
yeah.
It used to be like, what, at like 4?
And then
Yeah,
I
it
made
was
a
so
big
late.
stink.
Oh, yeah.
Before that, you
Used
guys
to
did
be
6.
Uh-huh.
I know, it was
Yeah.
awful.
It was after
Yeah.
everyone was off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
We'll be inching
we're
it
so
forward.
smart.
Okay,
Okay.
a little
Any other
over
matters?
an hour here, so we better get this wrapped up.
It was a
Anybody else have
juicy,
anything
fabulous
else?
week. I just really like this forest health stuff that's going around. And it's really great, and I'll tell you more about it as I get into it. But
Good.
yeah,
Maybe
it's really-
December we could make it Forest Month.
Oh,
Right.
this month, yes. We guys want to come out to Cherry Creek, have a picnic, show you what we're doing. I'll make lunch. Yeah.
Yeah, so Patty, so you'll do something and then send this to,
Yeah, I'll do like a little summary, like what it's about,
okay,
kind of explain what's there, and then just,
share it with us and then the board of
Yeah.
supervisors. and-
I think I'll just forward it to you to review, and if you want to sign it,
And I can circulate it in case there's
Yeah.
comments and then
Yeah.
we'll get it signed.
Okay,
okay.
that
And
sounds
then I'll
good.
upload for a board meeting.
I think like a half a
informational.
pager would be fine.
Perfect.
That is so
Thank
exciting.
you.
We have to,
I am
Thank you.
officially adjourned.
We have to
we
do
have to
Officially
officially
adjourned.
adjourn.
Okay,
Officially.
Okay, who motioned?
Oh,
We just
you did.
designated.
Yeah.
Former
Patty say.
All in favor,
I don't think I'm gonna get lost on the way out.
Thanks, Patty.
Another